GWATA TV gives you a first look at North Central Washington's business news. You'll hear from our local business, tech, and education companies as Jenny discusses hot topics and current events with some of the best innovators and pioneers in North Central Washington.
Hello, North Central Washington. Welcome to part 2 of our special GWATA TV episode focused on the STEM and Career Connected Learning Legislative Forum for District 12 candidates. GWATA and the Apple STEM Network recently hosted the STEM and Career Connected Learning Legislative Forum on the Wenatchee Valley College campus. Our goal behind hosting this forum was to allow one full event around education with our candidates and representatives running for office. Our candidates have an incredible, vast array of issues and important topics that they need to cover throughout their campaign season, but often education is just one tiny sliver of the conversation. And we spent 90 minutes with the candidates diving into education and how they'd support that in our schools, within industry, and in post-secondary. Today's episode is going to feature about 20 minutes of highlights from the STEM Forum, but I want to encourage you to go to our website where you can see the full 90 minutes and learn more from each of the 4 candidates and what their plans are. So again, enjoy this special episode that's off-site of the STEM Legislative Forum.
Thank you. We're doing question 4 on STEM literacy. This is for the other side of the stage. Okay. STEM education provides the foundation for understanding the world around us and equips students with skills they need to take advantage of the economic opportunity found right here in the 12th district, our home communities. Do you believe that STEM skills are critical for all students in our region? And if so, how do you believe we can better integrate STEM at all grade levels in the K-12 education system to make sure that students are ready for the 21st century economy? So a couple of things that I'll just rehash together. Do you believe STEM skills are critical for all students? And how do we integrate support for students to develop those skills, and for all students to develop those skills? And we will take Diamond first, please.
Yes. If you remember which part of the question. Science education, or the scientific method, is a way of looking at the world. What you're doing is you're looking around and saying, like today, it's gray outside. The barometer's dropping. I'm going to make an assessment and say, maybe it's going to rain, and grab an umbrella. We do it every day. We do it every hour. We make an assessment and try to collect data and decide, do we move forward? When it comes to STEM literacy, I would suggest that part of an education is putting everything before the student and letting the students decide where they want to move forward. To me, math is a life skill. If you don't know how to balance your checkbook, if you don't know how to tackle a simple financial problem, I will point out that there are 44 million students in debt right now. That's more than 1/10 of this country. And we are doing a disservice if we are not educating our students how to handle their finances so that they can move forward with their careers and their families. I'm going to put just one other plug in for STEM literacy, because I don't know if I'll have another opportunity. And that's full steam ahead. The A is for arts. And when it comes to, and I saw somebody smile back as soon as I said arts, but if you look at music, if you look at engineering, if you look at design, art plays a role in how we address math and science. And I would say we need all full steam ahead in our literacy program. Thank you.
Well, I too believe that it's important to have everyone be STEM literate, I guess, and be taught in that manner. However, it's still critical that we, and as Dr. Diamond mentioned, have the STEAM element to it. And, I think that people having a good basic learning is critical. But at some point, people will take a different track. And even if you are more in the arts, you gravitate more toward the arts rather than to the more technical or the more manual labor type career. There are people that find great fulfillment in many different areas in life, but it's important to have good training. Because the training that you have that may not be directly related to what you most enjoy can still be of great benefit. So, the STEM process is a good process. I think it's very critical. It helps with some real basic thought processing and learning skills that can be beneficial in other areas. So I would be very supportive of that, and I think that it's critical for us to have that in our society. I do think that we think about, when we talk about the 21st century, there's some really neat opportunities for employment in the 21st century. But there's still some opportunities for employment that date back many, many centuries that people, as I mentioned, find great fulfillment in. And I think we need to value, everyone's desires and give them the skills to make good choices and to find great fulfillment in their life's work. Thank you.
Moving right along, back to this side of the stage again. Question 5, in computer science. This is for Representative Steele and Ms. Serrata. Computer science, the ability to code, to create algorithms, to analyze big data, is a core component of our STEM economy and a whole host of sectors, from agriculture to hospitality to healthcare. And a whopping 91% of Washington voters want to expand computer science education for Washington students. How would you go about ensuring students have access to computer science education? First question, how would you go about ensuring that students have access to computer science education? Second part, would you support the development of a regional education pathway dedicated to computer science? And we will start with Ms. Serrata.
So I think most things in education will take funding, and I definitely think that this is an area that does need to be funded. Again, it does need to come at an earlier age, so kids are starting to think in terms of modules and computer language. It's just like any other language you learn. The earlier you learn it, the better you're able to incorporate it into your thinking. So another thing, the second part of that question, do I think that there should be a track necessarily? I think so, but I think that we want to be careful of doing that because I think students need to have the time to be able to investigate many, many different areas. And so if they find that they're really good at computer science, it's important that they have some opportunity there, but I think it's also important to give them some time to develop an even wider liberal arts education. One thing that concerns me, and I'm really worried about, is when IT and computer science students get out of their schooling and go try to find a job, and there are jobs, but the wages have been flatlined for decades now. It's true that they will get about twice, a little bit over twice, the average salary as someone who has just the basic average salary, but it's concerning to me that in these tech corporations where CEOs are getting 17% and earning millions of dollars, that wages for the average IT worker have not really gained much. I think it was like 2.1%, and then when you talk in terms of inflation, that's almost nothing. So I really believe strongly that we need to look at the system.
So this is a great point of conversation where I personally believe the state's K-12 education is lagging behind. You know, we've been teaching to this old factory-style model of education for the last 50 years, and we're naive to the fact that our kids are learning a much different way, a vastly different way. I mean, how many of your 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds can navigate their iPhone better than you can? They are engaged in a digital world like never before. And so there's a burden of responsibility on the state to make sure that those kids have a pathway to success in the digital age, and that includes this computer science element. Now, it's a broad spectrum. When you say computer science, it's a very broad thing, and there are many elements and nuances to computer science. But what we did at the state level, even in this last year, is said, look, if a child is struggling, if a student is struggling, rather, in Algebra 2, let's give them an opportunity to substitute that credit for a computer science course, where maybe they're more adept at understanding that piece and substitute for that math credit. We struggled with that. I think we ultimately got it through the committee. It didn't make much traction after that, but we're going to go back and continue to focus on that policy and see how we might be a little more innovative as it relates to our digital connection with our students. We have to help our students be good digital citizens, which is something we've never worried about before. And if you don't have a good computer science background, or at least a fundamental understanding of how to engage in a computer or digital world, you're going to be behind in any career field, because so much of what we're doing in any, even the skilled labor, is requiring a basic understanding of computer and computer science. So we have a major responsibility to push resources that direction. And yes, I would be in absolute support of creating a regional network that helps facilitate that success, because we have an obligation, as I've said, to our students. And I think we have an opportunity to be extremely innovative, which is really exciting, because as technology is changing, we also have to look at the ways it's influencing our economies. And I think that's one of the cool ways that the technology and economic development can really overlap with K-12, and we're trying to make sure those gaps are being filled through good education policy that meet the demands of a digital economy. So I'm excited to continue working on that.
So we're moving on to question 6. Making good progress here, folks. Thank you so much. This is on the STEM capital. Bricks and mortar. This will go to Dr. Diamond and Commissioner Painter. The STEM Capital Grants Program has been funded for $10 to $12 million over the past 2 biennia. It has allowed school districts to improve STEM education classroom spaces and to enhance teaching and learning, with a priority on schools serving low-income students, a high proportion of low-income students. Do you support the program? So that's an easy one, yes or no. And do you have other thoughts on how to increase STEM teaching and learning resources at the school level? And we will start with Dr.
So again, yes. And bringing the resources into the classroom is clearly what would best benefit all of the students at every grade. And the secondary part would be
what are the ideas you have about bringing resources into schools to support STEM?
Okay. Well, I think part of it is apprenticeship programs. So allowing for folks like myself, if you touch on the scientists in your community, then you're engaging the students with real life people who are using that education and showing how it benefits the community. So for me, we'll give it a try. Go ahead and do this, all of you. Just move your hand. And what we're doing is, if you're beating it at one time every second, fairly quickly, your hand's going to tire. And I've done this once or twice, and I think many of you recognize that this is your heart as a muscle. But it never ceases to amaze me that for 76 years, as people drop their hands in tiredness, the difference between skeletal muscle and the heart muscle. So bringing in someone like me, who can talk to students with a very simple example and show them how their bodies are amazing, and from a public health perspective, how to take care of their bodies. Or, I was knocking on doors earlier today, and there's a man who is pouring his sidewalk. And I asked him, why are you pouring your sidewalk? There's sidewalk everywhere else. And he said, well, the city was doing it. They were doing a lousy job, so I'm going to do it myself. And he went on to talk about that there are 2 types of education right now. This is from the gentleman pouring his sidewalk. He told me, you can learn if you're good at math, because then you can figure it out. Or you can apprentice and learn from somebody vertically who has the experience. And we need to use that vertical integration in our schools. Thank you.
Would you mind repeating the question?
I certainly will. There were two parts to it. So the STEM Capital Grants Program has funded these.
I do support the program.
That's the answer.
The other one, that's the answer.
Okay, that's easy.
The other part is out of suggestion.
Do you have other thoughts about how to increase STEM teaching learning resources within schools?
Well, as I mentioned before, I think it's critical to have the educators who are engaged with the children and at every level, whether it be college or whatever, to have an opportunity to give input as to what kinds of programs and what additional learning resources should be available. But I do think that it is important that in our communities, particularly where you do have people who are highly skilled, this district has had some tremendous innovators in our communities, and they've been very successful. They've been world leaders. So we have some real untapped resources right here in our community. And if there was an opportunity for the visiting, I know that in Rotary we have what we call the vocational opportunities where you come in and you interact with the schools and the kids. And there's so many opportunities throughout our communities to engage in people who have been so creative. And as I said, we have world leaders in our midst, and I believe that it really would be important for us to tap into those individuals' skills and abilities and integrate it into a real life experience in the school. So that would be what I would suggest too.
Thank you very much. Moving right along, question 7, STEM economy, back to Representative Steele and Ms. Surratt. District 12, this region has seen a transition over the last couple decades. Not long ago, the whole base of the economy, livelihood, the local culture was around agricultural work and the production of tree fruit. And that's changed. It's still there. It's still a vibrant part of what's happening in this region, other parts of the state. But there's more now taking root in the fields of technology, in energy, natural resources. How do you plan to support the ongoing development of the agricultural industry and these emerging fields in your effort as a district representative? And we will go to Representative Steele first, please.
Well, I think what we're seeing here in this district is the opportunity to be integrating these two economies really significantly. As I look at how the agricultural industry is changing, even my own family operation, the way you need to be more efficient and effective is by bringing in technology to help you do that. You have to create bigger yields. You have to create better, closer plantings. And how do you harvest in those closer plantings? You rely on robotics. You rely on some of the new things that are being developed right here in our own communities. And I think we have to nurture those things and push those things, and we have to recognize that there's space now in these communities for both economies to live side by side and to enhance the experience of each economy. One of the pieces of work that I'm doing on the Technology and Economic Development Committee is really looking at how broadband and broadband access influences the successes of our communities and our economies. I really believe that broadband now is more of a utility than it ever was before, and you can't have an effective technology or a technology economy without adequate access to broadband. And right here in Chelan County, we have great access to fiber, but that's not true in the entirety of the district. So the governor was over several weeks ago and really pushed him hard on what I think we need to see in these rural communities as it relates to not just connection, but speed in broadband. And so I think that will help us bridge these gaps as we try to grow the economic technology economy here in North Central Washington. Again, back to the relationship between agriculture and technology, they're very, very commingled, and I think we have some incredible companies right here that are trying to nurture the future leaders in technology, because places like Stillmilt and Chelan Fresh and Chelan Fruit are looking for those leaders that are ultimately going to innovate and create efficiencies in their packing lines, efficiencies in their logistics and how they're transporting things to and from market. So all of these things provide new opportunities that didn't exist in the agrarian economy before, but now because of technology and STEM work that's being done, we have a whole new set of horizons for students, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, I completely agree with Mike about broadband. I think that is going to be the key to getting faster speeds in this area for people who are in business, agriculture, any of the sciences. We need to have that available, both in the urban and the rural settings. I also think with things not just agriculture, but wildfire prevention, wildfire fighting, I think that's incredibly important to look at science-based solutions for these areas. I know Hillary France has done amazing things to really take a look at that and see what is needed to address one of the major issues, our environmental issue here in this area. So I think that's about all we have on that.
Thank you.
Well, this concludes our two-part special on the STEM and Career Connected Learning Forum for District 12. I want to encourage you to go to the GWATA website where you can see the full 90-minute forum and hear the details from each of the representatives going up for office. I also want to recognize and thank our future technology leaders. GWATA had students come to the forum and ask questions, and while we didn't have time to feature that in today's episode, it's really important to have that student voice. So online, you'll see the students from Foothills Middle Schools asking each of our candidates what they thought about CTE education and involving girls in STEM activities. We want to thank Wenatchee Valley College for allowing us the opportunity to host the forum and broadcast from their location, as well as Washington STEM for moderating the event, and the Apple STEM Network for being our partner and pulling this event together. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode of GWATA TV. Have a great day.
Since 1999, GWATA has served as North Central Washington's Tech Alliance. As a 501c3, our mission is to bring people and technology resources together to create a thriving community. Through our work, we aim to inspire, engage, and connect.